Hey everyone, welcome to another video here from thewindowcleaningstore.com. Some of you may know me as Mark the Window Cleaner, YouTuber, doing reviews of window cleaning products since 2008. And I've been the owner and operator of the Window Cleaning Store since 2013, right up to the present. Now, I've always covered the professional line of window cleaning tools, which is why it kind of pains me to say that this past weekend, I actually went out and I bought myself a squeegee off the orange market.
For shame!
So the squeegee I'm talking about here is the new Unger swivel squeegee. It's an 18-inch squeegee with a swivel handle, which you can lock into different positions. Now, I'm really surprised it didn't come out with a professional line first of this handle. Usually Unger will have their green line, which is the professional line of tools, come out, and then they'll come up with like a kind of a cheaper version using the blue plastic. So anytime you see blue plastic on an Unger product, it's always their consumer line. It's really meant for like homeowners, that kind of thing. But they did come out with this first in a consumer line. It's an 18-inch, which kind of surprised me. 18-inch is kind of a large squeegee for a typical home owner to wield, especially if they're doing residential windows. It's a little bit big. I'm also kind of surprised that they would do a swivel handle for the consumers, because I know guys who have bought wagtails and they even have a little job trying to get used to the idea of a loose swivel. But like I said, on this particular one, you can lock it into a few different positions. So you can lock it by pulling this little tab down. You can lock it straight, and then you got to unlock it and then lock it again. Now it's this angle, and then you can also lock it in to this 45-degree angle. I mean, I guess this is kind of handy if you're using this to do transom windows. Windows above doors are going across like that. You can lock that into place. Usually if you're a professional window cleaner, you can kind of manipulate the squeegee, even loose squeegees, without having to have a lock like this. So I guess that's good for the consumer. As far as the angle, let me just lock this straight. As far as the angle, this appears to be about a 25-degree angle, which I do like. It's really quite similar to the wagtail, which of course they are copying. Anytime you see a loose swivel squeegee, they're copying the wagtail. But I've always liked the angle to the glass, the 25-degree, and they've done that here. You can see too, if you take an accelerator and you lock it into the 25-degree position, it's really quite similar. So looking at the build quality of this, the handle itself feels pretty rugged, as well as the pivot. So I'm kind of happy about that. I don't like this little button here. I don't like big bulky things to be underneath the channels. I always think in certain situations trying to close out, anything that's underneath here could stop you from closing out nicely. But it's not a huge deal. You can see inside there's also a screw there, a Phillips screw. Since that's right on the pivot, I'm going to imagine that you could tighten that up so that the pivot's maybe not as loose. I personally do like the loose here. This metal plate here seems pretty cheap. I can imagine this getting bent up in time, especially if you are a professional window cleaner and you buy this. I could definitely see this being a problem, as well as the screw for locking in this plate. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to rust out in time. I'm not going to say it will. I wouldn't be surprised. The channel itself, even though this is an Unger product, this is not an Unger channel. This is just some no-name stainless steel channel made in China. The rubber itself doesn't even say Unger at all on it. It has 3 stars on it, like embedded or embossed 3 stars. So it's a third-party rubber. So half of this tool feels good. The other half kind of feels cheap to me. But anyway, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So I wanted to give this a shot there. So I tried it on my the door at my store. And it felt pretty decent. It felt quite similar to using just a regular slimline. The rubber was a little bit weird, kind of stuck in a few places. But like I said, it's a cheap knockoff rubber. It's just some really cheap quality rubber. So I'm not too surprised about that. And I mentioned earlier about being odd that this was an 18-inch, because it is a little bit big for residential windows. You can put smaller channels in that. I'll show you in a minute. But anyway, I did manage to get through a typical residential size window with this. You just got to practice on your technique. But yeah, it did work. And all in all, I mean, I kind of wanted this squeegee to suck, but it doesn't suck. It sucks that they don't have a professional version of this. I really think that they missed the mark here. I think they should have gone professional version of this first, consumer grade second. So anyway, to release the channel, you just undo this dial, just enough so the channel comes out. And if you have another channel, like let's say an actual Unger channel, you can always tell the Unger channels have those notches in there, and you can put that in there if you want. So here's a 12-inch. So this would have been better suited for a residential window. You can also put brass channels in there. Just make a note though, that if you put a brass channel in there, these little points that would normally hold the rubber on this channel or on the Unger channel, these little points on an Ettore brass channel actually just touch the metal itself. It doesn't touch the rubber. Not that it's a big deal. You tighten that up, it's going to hold that channel in place. What also is a little interesting is because it does those channels, it will also do a liquidator channel with a flick pad. So this is interesting. Let me just open that up a little bit more. So just going to close that up. Let's just make sure that's nice and even. So there you have it. You have Mormon flick pad on a Mormon channel, and you've got the swivel. The only real difference between this handle now and the Mormon is that you don't have the ability to change the angle to the glass. But as far as the pivot, the locking it in the straight position, that kind of thing, it's all there. So yeah, really interesting. Like I say, it's not usual for someone like myself to buy a squeegee handle from the orange market, as I call it, but there it is. I wanted it to suck, but it doesn't really suck. It's not great. It has some components on it that they could definitely improve upon. But Unger, if you're watching this video, it's like, please bring a professional version of this tool out. I think it was something I would really like to sell. Anyway, I hope this video is helpful to you. Thanks for watching.